become free from karma. And at that point we attain complete freedom, complete peace, no more anxiety, Vaikuntha, and real happiness, real satisfaction in life with our dear friend Krishna. So that's the process. So if these things come up, then we have to use every tool available to clear the decks. If we're still attached thinking that, oh, if this doesn't work out, then I can always do something else. I can always go back to being like this, like I was before. But why are you here? It's because the way you were before wasn't satisfying. Didn't give you the happiness, didn't give you the peace that you wanted. That's why we're all here. I mean, I had it all together. I was in a really great jazz band. I had a steady gig. I mean, we were booked for the next 5 years, literally. Every night, playing in different places, right? I had it made. I was making, you know, double union scale or something like that. I was really in a good situation. But one night I came down off the stage and I went, this is not doing it for me, you know? And from a material standpoint, everything was fine. But there was something missing, and it was something that this material satisfaction could not address. And what that was Krishna. You know? That's very clear now. Very, very clear from this point of view. So something is there in you that is doubting this process, or that is doubting, you know, where you're going to wind up by doing this process. You know, there's something in you that doesn't want to surrender fully. You know, there's something, and it has to do with your desire. You know, you can blame the mind and say, oh yeah, the mind is doing this, the mind is doing that, but the mind is only doing that because of your desire. So if the mind is giving you trouble, that means your desire is not pure. You have some desire other than for Krishna. Might as well face it. That's the reality. So is it you have to make up your mind. Do you really want Krishna? If you really want Krishna, then you have to put these other things away. I mean, you're still young, you know. At my age, if I haven't already attained something in this material world, it's probably not going to happen anyway, so I might as well just give up on it. You know, you're still young, you might have some hope that, oh, you know, if I ever get tired of this devotional service, I can always go off and do X, you know, whatever it is. And so your mind is reflecting that desire by influencing you to hold back and to find so many faults, even if they're not really there. This is the mind, you know. So don't blame your mind. You have to take responsibility for your condition. And that means you have to look at what your desires are. Do you really desire, do you really want this devotional service, or is there something else that you want? Don't lie to yourself, and don't just blame the mind, because the mind is doing what you told it to do. Krishna says the mind, the intelligence is higher than the mind. The mind is higher than senses, but intelligence is higher than the mind. And false ego is higher than intelligence. And above them all is the soul. And the desiring is the business of the soul. So you, the soul, are desiring, and then all these other things, false ego, mind, intelligence, and senses, are doing whatever you desire. So if you're desiring something apart from Krishna's devotional service, then of course the mind and intelligence are going to follow that. And then don't ask me, how do you change your desire? Huh? By desiring to change your desire, right. You know, this is not a mechanical process. It ultimately comes down to consciousness. And if you know that this is the ultimate process of consciousness, then, you know, if you have substantial integrity, you would desire to follow this process to its conclusion. Seems logical to me, huh? But of course, we're habituated to so many nonsense desires. That's our disease. You know, and even if we stop, sometimes the mind will keep going in the same pattern for some length of time. So you have to make up your mind that you're going to take up this process and just execute the process until the habit goes away. And in the meantime, when it does come up, you're not going to give it any space. Beat the mind with a stick in the morning and a shoe at night. You know, because the mind is like that. The mind is full of all kinds of nonsense. If you believe in the mind, you'll be led astray. But of course, if you want to be led astray, then, you know, go ahead and have a nice conversation with your mind. Hey, what's up, mind? Oh, I'm worried about this, and I really want that. I'm afraid of all these things, and then my mommy doesn't like me, and you know, whatever it is. The mind is full of it. So if we listen to the mind, of course we're going to be led astray. You know, so the question is, well, why would you want to listen to your mind? What's the motivation? What's the desire that would make you listen to your mind when the mind is telling so much nonsense? So anyway, this is, you know, the reason I'm going into this in so much detail is that it's a subject that affects everyone. Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, there's one more question.
One more question, okay.
From Prasad. In Bhagavad-gītā, Lord Krishna, no, sorry, it's Bhagavad-gītā.
Yes,
right?
there you go.
Lord Krishna explains that 4 kinds of people approach him. Those through going through misery, etc.
Right.
When people have comfortable material life and have basic faith in God, when does the serious Brahma Jignasa happen?
When they get knowledge. See, the kind of person is coming out of distress. They want relief from their distress. The second kind of person is coming because they want money, economic development. And Vedas give economic development. There's plenty of Vedic processes you can do for economics. No problem. But then the third kind of person who comes to Krishna wants knowledge. Why is the world like the way it is? Why is human life, you know, the way it is? And how can I improve my situation? How can I improve my consciousness like that? So Vedas also answer all these questions. And once you get knowledge, then you're beyond this problem-solving stage. And you get to the stage of, oh, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Krishna is everything. So I should worship Krishna because simply that's the right thing to do. That's my duty. And I should follow my duty. Not that I should simply take this knowledge as theoretical. No, I should put it into practice in my life. It's practical. You'll find everything in the Vedas is a practical knowledge. It's not just for armchair discussion. It's for actually putting into practice in your life and making your life perfect. And if you do it, you'll find that it always works. I mean, Prabhupada always gave the example that the Vedas say that cow dung is pure. And yet cow dung is the stool of an animal. So this cow dung being stool, it should not be pure. But yet, if we do the experiment and we actually test the cow dung, maybe not on the ground, but when it first comes out of the cow, it's completely pure. The cow has some enzyme that digests all the bacteria like that. So if we actually test this Vedic knowledge, we'll always find that it's correct. So once we've passed beyond the stages of relief from distress and gaining economic development, then we come to the platform of knowledge. And once we get knowledge, then we want to love Krishna because we know that's the actual solution to all of our problems. Okay, give me the mridanga, please. No, you should play the drone. Okay, thank you. What do we got here? Try about G.